Morning.
Demencia!
Hey, welcome back to my Project Zomboid series on the town of Westpoint. Plus, most beginner players often die within the first week. We're on week 3. I'm doing a fine job surviving for this long. Here's an overview of Christine's skills. As you can see, she's been through a lot. Also, the starting injuries and broken leg have now healed, meaning no movement penalties and no combat penalties for her either. Now with that addressed, it was time to gear up and head out. There were a few things I wanted. In a list of them from highest priority to least, bigger and sturdier cars for gathering more loot so I don't have to make return trips as often. A generator and gas to store in barrels. More books and magazines to unlock more useful recipes and upgrade my skills faster. Also, I have a good amount of non-perishable food stored away in the kitchen cabinets. More alternative ways to generate food such as farming, trapping, or fishing before winter will come in handy. I went over to the spiffle van I found earlier. I didn't have the key, nor had the skill to hotwire. It was the closest vehicle to my base, so I put some fuel in it for later. Next, I ran with the goal of reaching the church so I could take the truck. I immediately noticed that the hordes have migrated close to the homes I looted, so I had to keep my eyes open and my weapon sharp. Other than a handful of Zeds, it was easy reaching the church. I stealthily poured in some gas, hopped in the truck, turned the key in the ignition, and drive deeper into Westpoint. Back in the suburbs surrounding the school, I started clearing out and scavenging the nearby homes and what's left of the school for supplies. Nothing I immediately needed, but the more food and the assortments of electronics and clothes were good. I forgot that I was looting during the late hours of the day, so I had to find somewhere to sleep. I did some quick surveying, killed any unwanted biters, and broke into a home. I pulled off the sleeping exploit of waiting outside until my panic was gone. Hastily walk inside and pick somewhere to sleep before my panic rises up. Quick tip for you guys. If you have the claustrophobia trait, it will naturally decay the longer your character survives. The next day, I eat my perishables and continue my loot run. More houses and killing more Zeds. However, I noticed an increase of weapons stuck to them. If you didn't know, after the first week, zombies will appear with a range of different weapons attached to them. After the first month, the really good weapons will appear on them. Really just depends on your luck. I break into a little store next to the school. Thanks to Braven for this much needed mod. The crowbar should be able to pry open doors and windows in vanilla Zomboid. I found nothing special, only food on the shelves, but I did notice the back door had been torn apart. I take a little ciggy break in the truck, then drive further into the heart of Westpoint. Now I was at the edge of the business district of Westpoint. I stopped after noticing a vehicle with a siren. It was the Ectomobile. It was from the 59 Cadillac Miller Meteor mod by KI5. I quit my spear as I saw an approaching horde and stuck it to him. Seeing how more would just end up coming, I just had a fuck it moment and went for the Ecto. I was lucky to have the door unlocked and the key in the glove box, though not necessary to turn on the siren. I booked it for the truck and GTFO'd before I got surrounded. As I was circling around, I noticed a construction scene with a sledgehammer. I'd have to pick it up another time. Anyways, the siren shut off and the hordes were going to disperse. So I pull up to the gas station and I had to attend to something away from my computer and completely forgot to hit the record button again. But trust me, what happened was plain epic. There was the evading of hordes by hiding behind buildings or trees, stealth killing isolated Zeds, gathering fuel at the pump, and making a quick getaway. I'm still looting, but now back in the suburbs. I come across a small gathering of Zeds in the house and decide to bash their brains in with a bat. There was a good amount of books inside, so more satisfying knowledge for me. As I move on to the next door house, I find a generator in the shed. It was house after house after house. Food, clothes, electronics, and meds. I just filled my truck up with stuff after stuff. Thanks to some beta blockers, I slept in one of the many homes I looted.
Pills here!
It was a foggy morning and I went out to crack some skulls with my baseball bat. I was making my way up to the boarded up house I saw the other night. Those places were to be treasured. Survivor weapons, ranging from guns to crafted weapons, and military gear. Especially anything from the British weapons pack. The gun selection is deliciously vast. The houses are usually packed with the undead too, but thanks to Christine's strength of 5 and fitness 10, it was gonna be easy killing them. Here's the interesting stuff I found. A kukri machete, a light machine gun with ammo, a baton and metal pipe, and a spiked baseball bat. Overall not bad. It's better than nothing. While I had a moment of peace, I started marking off locations I've been to on my map. It was rather satisfying seeing the map and the progress being made. It was almost midday, so I still had time to find more stuff to future-proof my base. In one of the garages, I found a welding mask. This was going to be super useful for metalworking. In another garage, I found another generator. Now that I had two, I could have one at the gas station and one at my base for when the power goes out. And wouldn't you believe it, but I found a third generator in another garage. The garages had tools, materials, and other items that were going to prove useful later. During my plundering of garages, I was in the backyard of a home and I found a propane grill. While it'd be useful for cooking when the power goes out, I was more interested in the propane itself. Hey, bad, swing! It was getting late, so it was time to pack it up and head back to base. When I arrived back home, I realized I had the RV interior, motorist zone, and special emergency interior mods. Thank you to the mod devs for these. I go to the back and enter the truck and saw the interior. This gave me a brain blast. You didn't have to cut me off. I was gonna add more storage to the interior. More loot for the loot goblin. Sorry about that. Moving on. I tow the wrecked car out of the way to make room for any bigger vehicles I decide to bring here. With darkness approaching, it was time to wash up, stow away loot in proper receptacles, place down any furniture I had, head upstairs, take some beta blockers, and finally sleep in a comfy bed.
Wake up!
A new day. I checked my skills and it was time to go out again. This time on foot so I could come back with a new vehicle.
I don't think you have any idea how fast I really am. I'm fast as fuck, boy!
I noticed that the Zeds are migrating further north, so I was a bit worried. But on the other hand, I had good weapons to grind out my combat XP. As I was culling the undead, a police chopper flew over. Helicopter, helicopter! This was part of the expanded helicopters mod. Thanks to the dev team for such a great mod. This gave me a hypothesis on why the hordes were moving closer to my home. Helis were just flying over and the noise dragged the hordes in my direction. I rip up some undead clothes for some tailoring XP. Y'all gon' make me. And the spools of thread. Since my carpentry skill was low, I gathered the wooden crates and other storage receptacles. I deconstructed other furniture for experience. It was getting late into my loot run, so I get some snoozies. Cleaning the streets of the undead, I continue on my foot journey. When I was walking past the school, I searched through a van in the parking lot. In the glove box, I found a map of Westpoint, along with some other useful stuff. This would give me a clearer layout of the town, instead of relying on my memory. In addition to that, I remembered there were some flatbed trucks in the parking lot next to the school. They were a good balance of speed and storage capacity. The truck was unlocked. It had gun cases with guns, and the key was in the glove box. It was like Christmas in July. I fill her up, check my map, and continue on my loot adventure. I finally made it back to the gas station I had tried to gather fuel from. I clear out the undead nearby. Set up a generator for when the power will go out and pump fuel into my truck and gas cans. There was also another freezer in the building next to me, so I take that too. It would be more food storage for when winter comes. While I was here, I took a gander at the hardware store across the street. More food, furniture, books, and some farming supplies. A welcomed haul. Now time to head back, but not before I go to the elementary school for some knowledge. No books, only toys, food, and the undead. Unfortunate. Anyways, as I was mounting up, I decided to tow the wrecked car on the street to clear it out of the way and to bring it back to base. When I detoured onto the dirt road, I got slowed down heavily, so I had to abandon it in the field. When I arrived home, I put down the furniture I got, washed up, and slept in my armchair outside. July 31st was when the power grid went offline. I was prepared for this. I had generators, I had a flashlight, and other items to survive the long term. But for now, it was just time to sort out all the loot I had. Clothes, books, tools, medicine, food. It was a deliciously wonderful sight to see it all being packed and organized. My once empty and bare home was now becoming a supplied and cozy base. I built a compost bin in the backyard. Now I could gather and discard rotten food for compost. I went out to my barbecue setup to cook some perishables I had with the wood I gathered from looting garages. Food was gonna go bad now that the power was off, so fattening up with calories wouldn't be too bad of an idea. I also used the time to cover up the windows with sheets and board up with planks. I also add sheet ropes to the second story windows for added escape routes just in case. Darkness was fast approaching, so I check on the boat. I couldn't figure out how to enter it, so I just give up and sleep on the park bench.
Wake up, mommy.
Christine made it to a new month, August. A big achievement to survive this long, so the snackable is a nice reward. Inside, I decide to have Christine get comfortable and notice that she has hair now. It's been 1 month, so yeah, no more bald Christine. Anyways, I wanted to have Christine stay inside to read books and exercise. She had the endurance of a horse, but not the strength to pack a wallop. Oh yeah! Christine was a strong 10 out of 10 fitness and strength, pure Giga Stacy status. Now time to put on the drip. And do a Paul Bunyan by deforesting my home. I saw down the logs and used the planks to finish up boarding up my base. Quick tip for y'all, you can board both sides of the exterior and interior of a door or window. This means zombies will take longer to break through it. The rest of the day was spent dismantling extra electronics for XP and sorting loot.
Nice.
I wake up early in the morning and decide to fill up my fuel barrels. I pack it up and use my sports car to drive into town. At the gas station, I spent a while to fuel up the barrels. It would be nice if there was an automated process that I could just fast forward through. What should have been a quick in and out job turned into breaking in, gnome poaching, metalworking, and police car towing. When I arrive home, I move the cars around to clear space, deposit my loot, and do some rearranging of furniture. As it was getting darker, I decided to read some books and grind out my mechanics skill. I was already at electronics level 1, so I would try getting mechanics level 2. It was easy, especially with the auto mechanics mod. Big thanks. After grinding it out until the next morning, I sleep then eat before going out again. I go back to the school and continue deconstructing stuff from material and experience. I also decide to take the other police van with me. As I was looking over my inventory, I heard it.
Helicopter, helicopter!
It was going guns a-blazing with all those gunshots I heard. Most likely it doesn't discriminate between the dead or living, so I stayed indoors to avoid getting a new breathing hole. I spent so long in the school that I ended up having to sleep on the cot in the nurse's office. I got too carried away with seeing those skills level up. The next day was more of the same. Destruction. I felt good getting a carpentry skill of 6 and a metalworking skill of 4. It was time to head home. It was a doozy, but I managed to drag a police van all the way back home. Also, my headlights were broken because of colliding with too many Zeds. Oopsie doopsie. Another day to log into the archive. You've made it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed, please subscribe, like, and comment on the video. I'm always happy to hear what you guys think of the series. Bye! I was in the backyard of a home and I found a propane grill. I was in the backyard of a home and found a propane grill. Propane grill. I was in the backyard of a home and found a propane grill. During my plundering of garages, I was in the backyard of a home and I found a During my plundering of garages, I was in the backyard of a home and I found a propane grill. And I found a propane grill. During my plundering garages, I was in the backyard of a home and I found a propane grill.